Hello, everyone. As we know, we have been studying about the geotechnical engineering, and we have been covering the syllabus of geotechnical engineering as prescribed by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Technical University, Lucknow. So, as you know, that we have already completed the Unit 1. Under Unit 1, we have studied about the preview of geotechnical field problems in civil engineering, soil formation, transportation of soil, soil compositions, many definitions under the soil as a three-phase system, soil structures, clay minerals, and particle size analysis. In addition, we have also talked about the classification of soil under Unit 1. Under Unit 2, we have already completed permeability and seepage. Unit 3 consists of two parts that also we have completed, that is, which are the soil compaction and the consolidation. So today we have to begin the Unit 4. Unit 4 also consists of two parts. The first part is stress distribution in soil, and second is the shear strength. So we shall begin first stress distribution in soil. Stress distribution in soil or vertical stress below applied load. What does it mean? As you know, at any depth below the ground level, the soil feels or soil experiences stresses due to the self weight of the soil which is available above that point, or if there is any structure constructed above that soil element. For example, you can see, as I told you, self weight of the soil. Let us take one example. Below the ground surface at 2 feet or 3 feet or whatever the points you are going to consider, right? Whether the structure is constructed or on the ground surface, which type of cylindrical structure can be constructed? As you know, earth dam, right? The buildings foundations are constructed below the ground level. So any points below the base of the footing, right, the soil feels stresses. So how much stresses are going to be felt by the soil? How we can determine, how we can calculate? See, the soil below the ground surface does not feel the stresses only due to the structure load, but also due to the self weight of the soil. See, many problems in foundation engineering require a study of the transmission and distribution of stresses in large and extensive mass of soil. Some examples are foundation pressures transmitted to soil strata below footing, right? Wheel loads, for example, wheel loads transmitted through stabilized soil pavement to subgrade below. That means you see the foundation pressures are transmitted to soil strata below the base of the footing. As I told you in the beginning, that the soil which is available below the base of the footing experiences stresses due to the structure load or due to the self weight of the soil which is available above that soil, right? So these are the examples. The wheel loads transmitted through the stabilized soil pavements to subgrade below. What I'm trying to say here, that all this structure, whether it is a road or the building, whatever it may be, all impose loads on this soil itself because it is constructed on this soil. So in such cases, the stresses are transmitted in all direction, all downward and lateral direction. In the downward direction, the stresses are going to be transmitted, and in the lateral direction also it is going to be transmitted. So a foundation engineer has to design a foundation such that the stresses on any stratum of soil should not exceed the capacity of that soil, right, to support the load. Otherwise, the shear failure and settlement will take place. What does it mean? That means whenever you are going to construct any structures, we have to design the foundation based on the bearing capacity of the soil. Otherwise, the structure may fail. This shear failure may take place, settlement may take place. So knowledge of stresses within a soil mass induced by load applied, how much load is going to be applied, suppose by the structure or the soil, we have to know, or we can say it is the prerequisite requirement, it is the prerequisite requirement for the foundation design. The next point we can see how we can calculate the stresses below the ground surface, right? So the most widely used theories regarding distribution of stresses in soil are the Bosniski and Westergaard formula. So this formula, the either Bosniski formula or the Westergaard formula can be used to determine or to assess the stresses below the ground surface due to the structure load or the self weight of the soil. This researcher, Bosniski and Westergaard, have developed first formula for the point loads, and later this point load formula have been integrated for the calculation of stresses for the steep loads or informally loaded circular area or rectangular area, right? Because the structure or the foundation of the structures, the structure may have the steep load. We shall also discuss in details in the next slides how the steep loads or the informal loaded circular area or rectangular area are going to impose stresses on the soil. So now we shall see the Bosniski equations, or it is also called as Bosniski formula for the point load. So for a point load, we can take the example of the post, right? Or see, transmission tower is also going to apply a point load. So if the point load is going to work on the ground surface, right? And you want to calculate the stresses below the ground surface at point P, right? And here on the ground surface, at the point O, the load is being applied. So suppose the depth at which you have to find out the stresses is Z and at distance R. So what is the vertical stress? What is the stress at point P? How we can calculate using the Bosniski formula? So Professor J. Bosniski in 1885 gave the theoretical solution for the stress distribution in an elastic medium. Soil is also elastic medium, as you know, subjected to a concentrated load on its surface. The solution are commonly used to obtain the stresses in soil mass due to externally applied loads. So when the loads are applied externally, how much stresses the soil is going to feel at this point, we can calculate by the theory of Bosniski equation or by using the Bosniski formula. But for the development of the formula, the Bosniski used many assumptions, right? And many limitations are there. What he has said that the soil is elastic and having a constant value of modulus of elasticity. That means the ratio of stress and strain is constant. So this is the first assumption he has said. The soil is elastic. And then the next assumption, what has been written, the soil is homogeneous. That homogeneous means it has identical properties at different points in the soil mass. right? Identical properties of this. So the soil property is identical. That is the homogeneous. The soil is isotropic. That means it has identical properties in all the directions. Okay. Now, the next assumptions we can see, the soil mass is semi-infinite. Semi-infinite. What do you mean by semi-infinite? That means it is bounded on one side on the surface of the earth and extends infinitely in all the direction below ground surface. Okay. So you can see, let us say, we take a load Q at point O, right? On the surface of a semi-infinite solid, what is there? What do you mean by semi-infinite solid? It is the one bounded by one side by a horizontal surface. Here, the surface of the earth, and infinite in other direction, right? So on the surface, it has a limited dimension, and in other direction, that we can consider the infinite. The expression obtained by Bosniski for computing a vertical stage at point P is given by sigma z, right? Sigma z is equal to 3q by 2 pi z square into 1 by 1 plus r by z whole square to the power 5 by 2, right? So here we can see r is the horizontal distance between the arbitrary point P. Any point, the P, we can choose at any locations below the ground surface, okay? Below the application of the load, we can choose any point in the soil, right? Below the surface, and the vertical axis through the point load Q. Z is the vertical depth of the point P. Point P from the surface. This is the Z is the vertical depth, right? And IB is called as Bosniski stress coefficient. So Bosniski stress coefficient, we can say, the IB is the Bosniski stress coefficient. That means Q by Z square, and the remaining we can take as a Bosniski stress coefficient. That's why here it is written like this way: 3 by 2 pi into 1 by 1 plus r by z whole square to the power 5 by 2. So now we can see, so we can discuss about this graph, the IB is Bosniski stress coefficient. So you can see here, Bosniski stress coefficient, the value of Bosniski coefficient IB can be determined by the number of values of the r by z. You can see this graph on this x-axis and the y-axis. On the y-axis, r by z value has been kept, and on the x-axis, the Bosniski stress coefficient or Westergaard stress coefficient has been plotted on the x-axis and the y-axis. So IB or IW. IB we can calculate for the corresponding values of r by z. So r by z you can see here, and so r we can change r1, r2, r3 like that, and at a different depth z1, z2, z3 like that. So r by z value we can find out, and corresponding values of r by z, we can also find out the values of IB for plotting this curve or plotting this graph. So you can see here the variation of IB with r by z has been, as I told you, it is shown in the figure. One thing we can here see that IB is equal to 0.48. Whenever we are going to draw this curve for the different values of r by z, that means r1, z1, r1 by z1, r2 by z2, like that. So for the different values of r by z, and definitely we are going to get the corresponding values of IB. So the values of IB will be the maximum values of IB is at r by z is equal to 0. Suppose this is r by z is equal to 0. This is r by z is equal to 0. So at x-axis, this IB is going to meet at 0.48, right? So we can say it is 4.48 at r by z is equal to 0. So now we can see Westergaard formula for a point loads. what Westergaard has said. See, Bosniewski, as we have seen in the previous slides, Bosniewski assumed that the soil is elastic, isotropic, and homogeneous for the development of a point load formula, right? However, in the practice, the soil is neither isotropic nor homogeneous, right? So what Bosniewski has done, what he has said, the most common type of soil that are made in nature are the water deposited sedimentary soils, right? The most of the soils in the field, right, is found, or in the nature is found water deposited sedimentary soils. So when the soil particles are deposited in water, we have already studied at the time of transportation of soil, right? So water transported soil also we have discussed how the formation of soil, how the soil is going to be transported by the water. So when the soil particles are deposited in water, typical clay strata usually having the partings or thin lenses of coarse and more rigid materials sandwiched between them, right? So typical clay strata usually having a partings or the lenses of coarse. So in that more rigid material sandwiched within them, when the clay strata is going to form, so it is going to be sandwiched in between the partings, right? These lenses or the thin sheets are the cause of greatly increased resistance, which prevent the mass as a whole from undergoing lateral movement of soil grains or lateral strain, right? So the Westergaard actually, the Westergaard has considered these things. What he has said that when the soil particles are deposited, as it is written here, the soil is deposited, the sedimentary soil is deposited by means of water. So when the soil particles are deposited in water, typical clay strata, it has been seen that typical clay strata usually having a partings or thin lenses of coarse and more rigid materials sandwiched within them, right? So these materials are sandwiched within them. So what is going to happen? These lens or thin sheets are the cause of greatly increased resistance, which prevent the mass of as a whole from undergoing lateral movement of soil. The movement of soil, the lateral movement is going to be restrained, going to be controlled. So Westergaard was a British scientist, proposed a formula in 1938 for the assessment of vertical stress sigma z based on the condition which are nearly similar to extreme condition exist in the reality. Actually, he considered, as actually Bosniewski said, that the soil he assumed that the soil is elastic, isotropic, or homogeneous. But in practice, it is not. The soils are not elastic or the homogeneous, right? That's why here it is written that the Westergaard considered the real things which is found in the nature. Therefore, Westergaard elastic solution can give better estimates of vertical stress in actual sedimentary soil deposit below the ground level, and in soil mass consists of layered strata of fine and coarse grained materials. If the strata below the ground level has different layers, for example, fine grained soil, another coarse grained soil, so in that case, this Westergaard equation can give you a correct vertical stress values. So we can see the Westergaard equation for the vertical caused by surface point load Q is given by this equation is somewhat different than the Bosniewski equation. So here sigma z is equal to Q by z square into 1 by pi 1 plus 2r by z whole square 3 by 2. So here also we can see Bosniewski stress coefficient IW. So this is the IW, right? So similarly, we can also plot the graphs, the IV, the R by Z value. We can choose different values of R and Z, and the corresponding value we can also take the IB with the this equation, or IW with this equation, IB from the previous equation which we have seen in the previous slides. So what we are going to found here, the R by Z at point 0, right, is 0.32. You can see the graphs here. It is R by Z is, if R by Z is equal to 0, means at this origin, this value IW will be 0.32. Okay, so Westergaard equation predicts values of sigma Z smaller than the Bosniski equations. So this graph indicates like that. The question is also asked, what is the difference between the Bosniski formula and the this Westergaard formula? So we can differentiate considering their assumptions, right? And this graphs also we can show that how much value the graph is going to give for the IB and IW for the different values of the R by Z and corresponding IW or IB. We have plotted the graphs, and what is the values of IW and IB at the when R by Z is equal to 0. So these points we can consider. Now we shall discuss about the next topic, that is vertical stress distribution diagram. Vertical stress distribution diagram, and how we can draw the diagrams, that is the vertical stress distribution diagram using the Bosniski stress equation, right? So you can see the Bosniski equation here. Q should be known, R should be known, Z should be known, right? Then for a particular values of Q, we can draw the vertical stress distribution diagram. So for a particular values of Q, right? And R and Z, if R and Z is going to change, R1, Z1, R2, Z2 like that. So for different, definitely we shall get the different values of vertical stress, and we shall draw the vertical stress distribution diagram. Let us see further. The above equation can be used to draw 3 types of pressure distribution diagram. You can see 3 types of pressure distribution diagrams is given in this slides. The one is a stress isobar. So this circular type of is the circular, the figure is called as a stress isobar or pressure bulb. We shall discuss one by one. The vertical stress distribution on a horizontal plane at a depth Z below the ground surface. So suppose this from here to here, the depth is Z. So on this Z plane, on horizontal plane, we can plot the vertical stress distribution diagram for the load Q. The next diagram we can plot the vertical stress distribution diagram on a vertical plane. This is a vertical plane at a distance R from the load. So here also we can plot the vertical stress distribution diagram. So how we can plot these 3 diagrams, we shall discuss one by one in the next slides. We can see the stress isograms, the stress isobar, what it says that below the ground level, right? Suppose whatever the load is going to work on the either on the ground surface or below the at some depth below the ground surface, right? So, or let us take one structure. So below the base of the footing, the soil at different location experiences different stresses, right? At different experiences different stresses, but you can see that below the base of the footing, some stresses at some location will be same. Okay, let us see what it said, that the stress isobar is a stress control connecting all points of equal stresses below the ground surface. So here you can see this figure. Many stress isobar, this is also called as pressure bulb, we can draw. Suppose the load is going to work on the ground surface, and we want to plot or we want to draw the stress isobar. Okay, so what we have to do, we have to, using the Bosniski equation, right, for the different values of the R, so maybe R1, R2, R3, at different depth. See, wherever the vertical stress is same, suppose here vertical stress is 5 kilonewton per meter square. Here vertical 5 kilonewton per meter square. Here 5 kilonewton per meter square. So what we are going to do, we are going to join all the equal stresses below the applied load. So this is going to be form a bulb type of graph. Okay. So different stress diagram we can plot, and definitely all the equal stresses are going to join together, right? So this graph is going to form in the form of a bulb, right? These are called as isobars. Okay, these bulbs are called as isobars. So it is asked that what define the stress isobars. There are many isobars. You can see many isobars are there for a given load system. Q is the load. This is isobar is also referred to as a bulb of pressure or pressure bulb. It is also called as pressure bulbs. Or many stress isobars can be drawn by joining the equal stresses below the applied load, right? Here also you can see this is a pressure bulb, or this is isobar, the circular shape, right? Joining the equal stresses below the applied load. The soil mass bounded within a pressure bulb furnishes the supporting power of a footing. Suppose the load is applied here. Okay, we can also take example of the structure foundation. So below base of the foundation, the soil is going to experience the stresses, right? The stresses may go up to different depth below the base of the footing, okay, or in even in lateral direction also. So that actually what it says that the soil mass bounded by a pressure bulb, right? This really indicates the supporting power of a footing. Okay, suppose footing is here, for example, here is footing. So pressure bulb can be drawn, many pressure bulbs can be drawn, and we can say that this area, this pressure bulb area are more responsible for taking the load of the structure footing. Now we can see the next point, next vertical stress distribution diagram on the horizontal plane. So this is the horizontal plane, ZZ plane, below the ground surface, and depth is fixed. See, depth, any depth we can take from the loading point. We can take here, any point we can take. So that's why I've written depth is fixed, and we can then on horizontal plane we can draw the pressure distribution diagram, right? So what we are going to say here is plotted by substituting different values of R. So this is the horizontal plane, and here from this applied load we can take R1, R2, R3, right? And using the Bosniewski formula, we can calculate the values of sigma Z, or the vertical stress sigma Z, using the different values of R1, R2, R3 from the applied load. Here R1, R2, R3, R4, here similarly R1, R2, R3, like that. So we shall see that here definitely here R will be 0. So what it says that sigma Z will be maximum directly under the point of application of the load. Here load is applied, so definitely you can see the pressure distribution diagram on the horizontal plane. When R is 0, it is maximum here, and as R is increasing either this side or this side, the sigma Z, that vertical pressure is going to decrease. Okay. So next point we can say vertical stress distribution diagram, how we can plot on the vertical plane, right? This is the vertical plane. As we discuss about the horizontal plane, how we can draw the vertical stress distribution diagram. Similarly, we can also plot the vertical stress distribution diagram along the vertical plane. This is the vertical plane. Suppose the vertical plane, we want to plot the diagrams at distance R. Okay, so this R is going to be fixed. Any R we can take, and we can plot the vertical distribution diagram. And the values of R we have to substitute in Bosniewski equation. So for the different load points, see, you can see from the load points is plotted substituting different values of Z. So what we can do, the R is fixed, and a different depth we can take, Z1, Z2, Z3, Z4, Z5, Z6, like that. So different Z1, Z2, Z3 is there, but R is fixed. And accordingly, we can also calculate sigma Z using the Bosniski formula. And on this plane, we can plot this vertical stress distribution diagram. So what we are going to find, the diagram represents a maximum value at a depth nearer to the ground surface. Definitely, because suppose the load is point load is applied here. So here nearby the ground surface, the vertical stress will be high. And as the depth increases, okay, it is written here, which decreases with depth. As the depth increases, the vertical stress decreases. So this is all about how we can draw the pressure distribution diagram on the horizontal plane, right? Or on the vertical plane, or how we can draw the STS isobars. We discuss now, right? The next point we shall see, line loads. Line load, suppose you want to find out the vertical stress in the soil due to the line load. What should be the line load? We should know the example of line load. Suppose you are going to construct a narrow wall, okay? So narrow wall can also be considered as a line load, or railway track, we can also consider as a line load. So how we can calculate the vertical stress below the applied load? Suppose this is the line load. Line load, definitely it will be per unit length. So you want to find out the vertical stress due to the line load at X distance and depth Z. You want to find out vertical stress at this point due to this line load. So how we can calculate? It is written here. Let us consider an infinitely long line load of intensity Q per unit length, acting on the surface of a semi-infinite elastic medium. Let the y-axis be directed. This is the y-axis, be directed along the direction of the line load. Okay, the vertical stress sigma Z at point O, we can calculate using this formula. We can see this formula, Q by Z into 2 by pi divided by 1 plus x by Z whole square to the whole to the power 2. So what we can say, Q is Q per unit length. Q is the line load, right? Line load per unit length, and Z is the depth, x is the distance, and you want to find out the vertical stress at this point. So this is all about the today topic. So what we discussed today, we talked about the Bosniski formula. What are the assumptions of Bosniski formula, and about the Westergaard formula? What is the difference between Bosniski and Westergaard formula? Okay, and how we can draw the pressure distribution diagram on a horizontal plane below the applied load, or along the vertical plane, right? How we can draw the pressure distribution diagram, and what do you mean by the STS isobar, okay, which is also called as pressure ball. And also we talked about the line load. So this is all about the today topic. Thank you very much.